This is Occult Pop, where we look at popular culture with an occult lens. I'm Guy Quintero, and this is my co-host.
Danica Simone.
And today we're looking at a movie called The Deliverance.
The movie is The Deliverance that we're talking about today. It is a Netflix movie. It came out in August of 2024. So you guys can watch it on Netflix if you have that. I highly recommend you check it out. It's a really good
It was good,
film.
yeah.
It's a little scary. And what makes it scarier, because it's not just any horror movie or another possession movie.
Yeah.
It was inspired by true events.
It was very accurate. I do remember that. It was a very accurate in regards to how these infestations take place
Yeah.
because it was very subtle. When it first started, you don't realize it. It's things that you can just explain away sometimes with a little bit of logic. But sometimes logic can blind you to things that are transpiring around you. And that's what happened to this family. They just explained things away until they could no longer ignore the fact that they were dealing with a supernatural infestation that was plaguing their home.
Okay, so The Deliverance is an American supernatural horror film inspired by the Ammons haunting case. It stars Andra Day with Caleb McLaughlin, Anjanu Ellis Taylor. I'm so sorry if I definitely butchered that name. Tasha Smith, Omar Epps, Monique, and Glenn Close.
All-star cast.
The film follows struggling single mother Ebony Jackson as she moves her children and ailing mother into a new home, only to face escalating demonic activity, leading to Child Protective Services investigating her for abuse while she battles supernatural forces and her own past trauma, all inspired by the true story of Latoya Ammons. The plot centers on the family's fight against possession, which manifests in frightening ways, putting Ebony in a spiritual war for her family's souls, forcing her to confront her personal demons and seek help from faith healers. And then I just wanted to explain a little bit about the Ammons haunting case. So the Ammons haunting case, also known as the Demon House, is a purported haunting and demonic possession which occurred in Gary, Indiana in 2011. Latoya Ammons, her mother, Rosa Campbell, and her three children claimed paranormal activity occurred in the residence. The Ammons family moved to Indianapolis in 2012, after which the events were said to have stopped. In 2014, Zak Bagans purchased the house for $35,000 and demolished it in January 2016 after filming a documentary in it titled Demon House that was released on March 16th, 2018. From what I heard, if this is the house I'm thinking of, because I do know that Zach purchased a property, did a documentary, and because it was so insane and like crazy haunted, he demolished it. And so I think that that's this house that they're talking about.
Very interesting. So this was an entity that was tied down to the house and then spreading out into the inhabitants.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Crazy stuff. It must have been a real pain if he must have endured a lot of stuff after he bought it to just demolish it after making a $35,000 investment.
Yeah. So from what they say in the movie, and I haven't done much more research than this as far as like on the Ammons haunting case, so I don't really know what all happened there. So I don't know how much of what they said in the movie is tied to reality. But in the movie, they mentioned that the house that the inhabitants, the people that lived there prior, were all murdered, right? Who was it? The husband or one of the people that was living there massacred the entire family. And so the premise was that this entity possessed, I think it was the father. I think it possessed the father. And then he went on a killing spree, and so that entity stayed and it was waiting for the next family, essentially. And so that was where this family, the Jackson family, came in. And pretty much immediately stuff started happening. The main area of activity where you're starting to see it was in the basement. There was a foul odor. There was, what was it? rats, or I know there was flies, but then they also they had an exterminator go down and he found like, was it a
Rats? I
rat?
think it
It
was
was rats.
rats.
Like that happened pretty much immediately at the beginning of the movie. Also, the mother was very in a very negative place. Like she was just angry. She was like beating her children.
Yeah, you're cursing them out. Very, very negative situation. She was recovering from it was
Yeah, she was
alcoholism.
an alcoholic. She wasn't recovering. She was an
She
alcoholic.
was an alcoholic.
She was actively drinking constantly. And her mother, so the grandmother, was dying of cancer. She was going through treatment, but yeah, she had like a severe case of cancer. Both adults in the family in the house were in those lower
Lower
frequencies.
frequencies.
They were suffering. They were already susceptible.
Especially when you add alcohol to the mix, because I remember they were partying a lot and drinking a lot. There's a reason why they call it spirits. It is a depressant. It lowers your frequency, it lowers your inhibitions, and allows negative things to come in. So yeah, very bad stuff. And then with a demon there waiting in the winds, waiting for them to show susceptibility so that he can hop in and start going to town. Yeah, really bad combination of things for that family.
So the demon took over, like possessed the youngest child. But then the other two children also started exhibiting weird behavior and stuff. So it makes me wonder, was it body hopping between the three children?
That's the vibe I got when I watched it, that it was hopping between them.
Yeah.
Like, you would mess with the boy at night, and then it was like messing with the daughter during the day.
There's a scene where they're at school and all three of them are acting crazy
Yeah.
simultaneously. But it was only one, they only portrayed one demon. So I wonder if a demon can essentially possess more than
Oh,
one person
yeah.
at the exact same time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's possible. Demonic possession, I mean, once it has access, it can just go in and out, and especially because they kept correlating it to psychological issues. So there was no defenses put up against this, so he could come and go as he pleased. Once it has access to your worldview, or your frequencies are low enough, it can just come in as it pleases. And because, I mean, those kids were going through a lot. They were facing abuse, and they were in a really unhappy situation, and they were being bullied on top of that. So, I mean, those kids were stressed. Their dad was gone, money problems,
I mean, their grandmother is
and their grandmother's dying
dealing
of
with a serious
cancer.
illness.
That's a lot for a child to deal with. So I could imagine their frequencies were extremely low at that point, and the demon was just hopping in and out at will.
Also, at the beginning of the film, you see that the mother is already dealing with like child services.
Yeah,
There's some kind of situation, they didn't really say what was happening, but I think it stemmed from her alcoholism
yeah.
because there was a social worker coming in and checking and being like, "Do you have alcohol? Like, I gotta check on the kids. I gotta." So it seems like there was already a history of alcoholism plus child abuse. So the social worker was already there. And that's just another stressor involved, bringing those frequencies down, not just for the mother, but her kids
Kids,
too.
yeah.
Like kids don't really want to be separated from their parents, even in a bad household. It's really hard for like kids are like, this is my mom or this is my dad. They have that love. So you know it's rough on them. Regardless, it's rough. It's a hard situation. So because there was already that history with the social worker, when these situations started happening and like the unexplainable things were happening and the kids ended up in the hospital numerous times and the teachers would see the bruises on them and everything, they just automatically went to this is abuse.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's hard. Like you want to protect the children. The children are always priority. Everyone wants to rationalize what's happening. What's happening? You know, you don't just assume everything's paranormal, and that's really the last place you go.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with medical professionals. I mean, they don't dabble in this lifestyle. They always look at it's just science and empirical data for them, what they can see. Yeah, you're not going to get spiritual help from them, and that's what they needed. And it's no fault to them. That's just what they're trained to do, right? Like you
Yeah,
couldn't put me at a surgeon's table, right? You could have put you at a surgeon's table, but that's what they do. And this is what we do. Yeah, they did the best they could to help those kids, but that demon was really going. That demon was putting some work on them.
yeah. So
It's
in
a
the
very
movie,
powerful one too. This is goes to show. I'm sorry to interrupt, but this goes to showcase there's levels to this. You're a small, little nasty. imps, psychic manifestations, low level apparitions, weak apparitions, things like that. They're easy to dismiss, but the greater ones, the ones that come with more authority over the etheric layers, with stronger auras, stronger presences, stronger command of the arcane, they're a little tougher to beat, especially when you've already been dragged low via unfortunate circumstances like his family was dragged to a low frequency.
From the beginning, also, you see that the mother is not religious. Her mom, the grandma, is constantly going to church. And she's like, "You need to come to church with me." And she's like, no, no, that's not
Yeah.
something I do. That's not for me. So she had turned away from her faith. And a woman does come up to her claiming to be an apostle. And she's like a pastor, right? She preaches and stuff. She has like her own,
Yeah.
she does sermons and stuff, right? Because they do show that. And so she called herself an apostle and she, I guess, worked with the previous family. And this was her redemption or her second chance because she lost the first family. The father went like homicidal and just killed everyone. And so she's watching the family and following them around and seeing what's happening. And then when stuff starts blowing up, the social services ends up taking her children away from her. And they have them in the hospital because they were going through some health issues, like something happened. I
Well,
can't
they
remember.
lost it in the school. I remember that.
Yeah,
The
and then they got
daughter
taken,
did some pretty crazy stuff, and so did the boy, and they all got taken away.
all
Like, it
three
was
of them.
simultaneously that day in school. The demon was just hopping between them, making them do very crazy things.
Yeah, so the mom takes them to the hospital because she's like freaking out, like something's happening. The social worker shows up and she's like, "We're taking over. You have to leave. Like they're now in our custody."
Yeah.
And that's when the lady, the apostle, reaches out to her. Like she comes up to the mom and starts telling her the history of the house and the previous inhabitants. And at that same time is when, or later that night, the social worker is in the hospital watching and they're doing all these tests on the kids, like MRIs and stuff, like brain scans and stuff. And the littlest son starts having an episode, like it looks like he's having a seizure or something, right? And everyone goes in and he's like breaking the snaps because they haven't like
Yeah.
tied down to the bed, and he breaks the snaps. He starts talking in like Latin, like in tongues.
Well, it wasn't tongues. It was. I think it was Aramaic.
Oh, okay.
It was some ancient language. Don't quote me on that. I think it was Aramaic though. I don't think it was Latin.
But it was a different voice. It was like a very
Yeah.
deep voice. It
Definitely
wasn't,
wasn't a child's voice.
yeah, it wasn't a child's voice. And he jumps out of the bed. And so the social worker sees all this and she's like, "What just happened?"
Yeah, and that's when she starts believing her, like, something else is going on here when
Yeah.
they finally see it, because there's no way a child like that is gonna break through the straps,
Yeah.
and
I don't even think a
a
grown
grown man
person,
couldn't do it, yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, unless you're on like PCP or something.
not even that. I mean, PCP makes you invulnerable to pain. I don't think it would make you strong enough to break those straps. Leather straps are hard to break. I couldn't even do that, and I bench press a lot. I can lift a lot. I couldn't even do that, break those things. So I don't, yeah, that was a tremendous amount of strength. Because when you're demonically possessed, when the demon hops in, that governor, because there's a natural governor over us, right? We have, it's, when I studied it in kinesiology class, where it's ingrained in our subconsciousness and the peripheral nervous system not to go overboard with the muscles, because you could tear your muscle from your bone if you overwork it. Muscles are capable of tremendous amount of more strength than we even know. Like, this is when you hear stories like when mothers able to lift cars off of children or something like that, or a wife sees her husband who was working on the car in the garage and maybe one of the jacks gives, and she just lifts it up so he can get out real fast. Adrenaline takes over, and the peripheral nervous system forgets the governor and lets you do your thing, access your full strength. Demons can do that all the time. When they're in your body, they know how to turn it all off. This is the reason why you hear exorcism stories about a 12-year-old girl tossing grown men across the room, right? Breaking straps, breaking handcuffs, knocking out a priest with one punch. A little 12-year-old girl, just boom. Her strength just comes out of nowhere because the demon is now taking over. And the demon doesn't care if it rips a muscle or harms the body.
Yeah, it's not their body. They
It's
don't
not their
care.
body. They don't care. And
It's
once
on loan. they'll get another one.
Yeah, once I'm done with this, I'm hopping to another one anyway, so I could just have fun with this one as much as I want. So this brings me to a completely off the cuff warning. If you see someone demonically possessed, do not engage because they're going to kick your butt. So they're way stronger than you. Don't engage them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the mom, with the help of the apostle, sneaks into the hospital and takes her kids back. She takes them back to the house, right? To basically exorcise the son. I think she only took the little one because he was the main one that was possessed. And so the apostle starts doing her thing, starts doing the exorcism, and it goes way wrong, right? Why did it go wrong? It went wrong because she didn't have a strong enough faith. She was going through the motions. She was dealing with her own doubts because she had failed the first time. So she was like, I have to get it right this time. And she had that fear that she was going to mess it up again. She was going to lose the family again.
Yeah.
So she wasn't fully present. She had the fear in the back of her mind, her doubts, and her faith wasn't strong enough. She didn't have that appropriate level of confidence that she could handle it. She was doubting herself. And so it went way wrong. She ends up like dying. The last thing she tells the mother is like, you have to do it right. You have to believe in God. You have to believe that He has your back. And it's up to you now. And then she dies. And so then the mother literally on her knees, because she gets her butt whooped too by her little kid, right? This demon is coming at her hard. And the demon actually ends up taking the form of the mother, like a doppelganger kind of situation. And she was just like tossing her around in the basement. And finally, I think the mother just reached her breaking point of like just pure desperation. And she fell on her knees and invoked God and was like, I am a child of God. Like she believed in her power
Yeah.
of being a child of God.
The kingdom of God is within you. Jesus told us that. Yeah.
And it was only at that moment that she was able to rebuke it, send it back, and save her family. It was a very intense movie,
Very intense.
very well done.
Amazing acting from everyone.
Yeah, and the writers did a great job.
Writing was amazing. Yeah. And whoever conveyed the occult aspect did an amazing job as well. Sometimes in movies, it can be a little hokey how it's conveyed. Whoever wrote the script for this and whoever set the pacing for this did an amazing job portraying what an infestation actually looks like and how the family experiences it when it happens. It's one of the better portrayals, in my opinion, that Hollywood has done. From the subtlety in the beginning to the full blown outright, the worst possible scenario that could unfold. And that's what happened to this family because they didn't get help in time.
You never see a movie or hear of a story where a possession takes place or an infestation takes place and it was a happy family.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was inspired by a true story, but like between the director and the writers, they really harnessed just how the family was already broken. They were suffering already. They were not a happy family. They were going through a lot of stuff. And the mom was going through a lot of stuff. She was an alcoholic. She was dealing with her own internal demons. And yeah, it was just a really well done film.
Hopefully they're a happy family now that they moved on. It'd be interesting to see an update or something on how they're doing.
Well, they're saying as of 2012, after they moved, that the activity stopped.
That's good.
All right. Well, that was Occult Pop. Thank you for joining us and hope to see you on the next one.
Please like, share, and subscribe because we're trying to grow the community and it really helps out the channel a lot.
I know I always forget to say that.
It's no big deal. That's what we got each other's backs. We partners.
I know. I'm just like so not about sales.
You are about helping people, right? I'm that way too. And sometimes we get lost in the sauce, but please like, share, and subscribe. We need your help to help grow the channel, help grow the community, help grow awareness, and to help others.
Feel free to leave a comment if you've seen a film or TV show or something where you want us to do a review on it or like a comparison of the way it's portrayed in the movie versus what we've seen happen in real life and the connections between the two, see how realistic it is, go ahead and drop it in the comments or shoot us an email and we'll be happy to do an episode on that.
Yeah, definitely. Take care, fam.